How loud is loud enough? That's one of the biggest questions that everybody in the audio scene is asking. And I'm going to try to answer this today and show you some new tools to do that as well. Now, before I'm getting into the main subject of this video, I want to give you guys a quick reminder of what loudness actually is about. I've got two tracks over here, which both could be mastered material, as in both would be approved for a CD, both would be approved for streaming. It would just be what you guys would listen to. Now, keep in mind that this is both the same track, but there's a difference. So this is the first one. And this is the second one. Now, as you could see, both tracks, they are on 0 dB and they are both peaking at 0 dB. But one sounds louder than the other one. And the reason for that is the amount of compression that is happening on the track. As you can see, on the loud one, I have two limiters that are pumping really hard. So there's less dynamic range and thus more loudness. That's what we call it. It's called loudness. Now, it was always believed by marketing people, artists, A&R managers, and everybody apart from audio engineers in the business that louder was better. And it's also kind of true. We humans perceive louder music as better, but it actually isn't. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull this one back and I compare these two now. They will sound at the same loudness to my ears. So they will sound just as loud to me. Suddenly, the loud one doesn't sound good anymore. And that's again because there isn't any room for the track to breathe. What mattered was actually what was, happening with the end user, because they were the real victim of this loudness war. What happened was that, certain tracks were super loud, certain tracks, the people didn't care, they wanted dynamics, so they were super quiet, somewhere in between. And what a lot of people did, and I also do it, I still do it, I make playlists of my favorite music. And if you keep all the tracks at the same volume, you have to dial the volume up and down every single song. So the listener, the one we are all actually making music for, was actually the one that we also made frustrated because we were controlling their volume knob. Now, the rescue to this loudness war came from, if I would say it, two different directions. The first issue there was that it wasn't measurable. And that was solved, I think 10 years ago or something, by the EBU, by introducing a new norm for audio engineers called the R128 norm. Most audio engineers better call it as a LUFS meter. All you need is LUFS. Which made it possible to really assign a number to how loud a track was. For instance, -8 LUFS is like a pop song. -14 is a more dynamic song. -20 is a classical song. -23 is the standard for broadcasting, etc., etc. It was measurable, and if something is measurable, we can adjust it. Now, the second one that really put an end to the loudness war were streaming services, online streaming services. Now, behind those streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Deezer, Pandora, Tidal, and probably a lot more, are companies that are really focused on user experience. They want to give the user the best user experience there is. And one of the ways they are doing that is by normalizing the loudness, so making sure that everything is at the same loudness. Every track that is too loud would be turned down by them. They will essentially give them a penalty. Now, it's really hard to determine what type of penalty you would get. Like how much dBs will my track be turned down? And what is the optimal loudness that I could assign to my track? Some people say that you should master everything to -12 LUFS, but that's also not really true. So my solution for the problem until today is a bit old and traditional, but this is what I call a VAR, a video audio referee. And let me quickly show you how this works.
You're waiting. I think it's red. Yeah, red.
It's in the area. It's a genuine attempt for 100%. I'll talk to you.
Ah, damn it. As you just saw, I got a red card. And that means that I was too loud and I need to take it down. But, you know, using the VAR or VAR, or how you want to call it, was always a bit of a hassle. I mean, it's an extra person and there are different opinions about using it or not using it, which I'm not going to go into right now. But now there has come a different solution along, thanks to the guys from Meter Plugs. It's a simple plugin and it's called Loudness Penalty. This is it. Yeah, literally, this is it. And what this thing will do, as soon as I press play, it will start to calculate the amount of decibels I get as a penalty. So let me show you. There it is. There it is, pretty quick as well. Now, as you can see, I'm using it on the loud track right now. And on YouTube, I would get a -6 decibels penalty. So YouTube would turn my music down by almost 7 dB. Spotify, 8 decibels. Tidal, a bit less. Pandora, 7.8. iTunes, 6 dB. Now, what I can do is preview. Now listen to how the track would sound on that platform, with the loudness compensation of the platform. And it's also very kind to give you a warning as soon as you disable the preview, because it will turn up a lot. Now let's put it also on the other one, like this. So this is on my dynamic track. Now here's something interesting happening. This track actually isn't loud enough. And you can see what is happening on every number. There are very interesting tooltips. So on both Tidal and YouTube, we can, increase without a penalty. On Spotify, super interesting, we will get a bit of extra limiting in order to reach the correct loudness. So Spotify would boost us by 1.5 dB. Pandora would boost us by 2.2 decibels. iTunes, we're perfectly fine for iTunes, as far as I can see. Now, here's another thing. If you press the preview button while you're actually not loud enough, the plugin would actually boost your music, which in the end could turn out clipping. So it's actually pretty realistic. As you can see on my master meter, I'm clipping already. And that's also what is happening on the streaming services. Now here's the tricky thing. If you master it at -12 LOFS, for instance, it could be that you're not loud enough. And my personal opinion about this whole loudness thing is always make sure that you're at least loud enough. So that you will get a bit of a penalty. And you're always sure that they won't, play around with your dynamic range and put a limiter on it or even let the track clip. So it's super cool that this is all in one plugin right now. But it's also a bit sad. Because my VAR, my video audio referee, I don't think he's got a job anymore. Let me quickly check how he's doing. Alright, and that's it for this video. One thing that I want you guys to take away from this video is that it could be a wise idea to always have a second pair of ears to check your track, a local mastering engineer or whatever. These numbers are really interesting to look at, but in the end, it's still a choice you gotta make. And it's a very difficult choice because it really depends on the type of music that you're making, the genre, how it fits in. If you're making an album, it's even a bigger issue. Still, you use these meters with care. They are still just meters. And if you're more interested in this subject, I'm planning on doing a more in-depth video of the Dynameter, which is a very advanced way to measure loudness. A very interesting plugin. If you guys want to see that, let me know that in the comments below. I first want to give a huge shout out to Erwin for being my video audio referee for this video. Erwin, thank you so much. Second one that I want to thank is Meter Plugs for, you know, sending me the plugin early enough so that I can make this video. So Meter Plugs, Ian and Ian, thanks a lot, thanks a lot. Now, if you like this video and want to see more, you can consider supporting me on Patreon. When supporting me on Patreon, you will make it possible that I can buy gear to review, up my production quality and reserve hours to actually make the videos. Another way to support me is by liking this video, sharing it with all your friends, subscribing to this channel and watching more of my videos. Thanks a lot and bye bye.